we're working with so many people right now that are really just struggling to find the right property, that perfect fit. And whether that be, they if they find something they like, they'll make an immediate offer. Maybe they need to sell their home first in order to buy something. And of course, we've got a lot of people that we're in communication with that say, hey, I would buy a property if this is what I could find. Or if I'm going to get excited about moving, then I at first, need to have some sort of reasonable assurance that what I want actually exists. And if something has recently sold, how reasonable is it to assume that something similar to that will hit the market in the near future, so that I can go ahead and start the process of preparing my home for sale, interviewing for a real estate agent to help me in this process, and then get all my ducks in a row so that once that property becomes available, I can press the go button and transition into a new home. And so what I want to first talk about is just this overall lack of inventory. And we've been talking about this really on this show for years, about how inventory to an extent is kind of strangling our market. It is a bottleneck to the process. If you can't find enough properties currently available to get excited about the process of moving, then maybe you just decide to renovate where you are and stay. Maybe you just decide that, maybe I just don't need to move right now. Maybe it's just not the right time. And so when we're working with people and they give us an idea of what they're looking for, we have several ways of finding properties that you as a consumer the options don't necessarily exist for you unless you are going to put forward massive amounts of effort and time to find the properties that we have streamlined processes for. So like as an example, let's say somebody says, hey, Brian, we're looking for a home with at least 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2,000 square feet in Mount Pleasant under $500,000. There are not a ton of those types of properties available in the market right now. So as we're going through kind of the discovery phase of our discussion with them, and we're really honing in on what they want, what does that perfect house look like? Pretend that I'm Stevie Wonder and walk me through the house that would just be perfect for you. We really want to get a good idea of those details so that as we're doing our search, we can send you the properties that ultimately are a good fit. How many times I can't even count the number of times at this point that I've talked to a buyer that said, oh yeah, we were working with an agent, but honestly, they just kept sending us a bunch of properties that we had zero interest in. And it just kind of seemed like, we had to tell them what we liked and we were in control of the process. They weren't really all that helpful. And so that's first, I guess, let me just help you guys understand how buyer agents usually work in this market. And this has been the case for years, because the reality is that technology is great. It helps us in many ways, but it also can be this ball and chain of sorts that gets us away from being salespeople. So like as an example, what most buyer agents will do is this. They'll ask you some questions about what you're looking for, bedrooms, bathrooms, price range, square footage, location, features, amenities, property type, all those things. And then they're going to say something like, all right, so I'm going to construct a search for you in the MLS. And then each time a new property hits the market, you'll receive an email with those updates. Or if an existing property reduces their price, then you'll receive those kinds of updates as well. So you just let me know when you see something you're interested in, and I'll go and I'll show it to you. I mean, it's one of several different examples of this kind of set it and forget it approach that real estate agents have to their business, where they are now relying upon you to tell them what you like and when you want to go see it. But the reality is this: we are in a seller's market. We're in a very drastic seller's market in many portions of the real estate market right now. And so by the time you get around to checking your email, maybe you find that perfect property, but you didn't check that email for 2 days. I mean, how good are all of us at, zeroing out our inbox and checking every email as soon as it comes in? The properties that are priced really well, that are in good condition, that are marketed well, sell quickly. Almost every single property that we've put on the market under $400,000 in the past 3 months has received multiple offers. So the market is super hot right now. It's been that way for years. And so if you, the buyer, are responsible for, the timing, then you're going to get frustrated because you're going to find properties you're interested in that by the time you get around to it and then ultimately view it in person, it's already got an offer or 2 or 3 or 5. We just had another buyer agent on our team make an offer on a property that they won because we're good at constructing offers that will get accepted. And we're going to talk a little bit more about negotiating a little later on in this program. There were 9 offers on the property first 3 days. I mean, that's a bit of an extreme example, but those opportunities for sellers are still out there. Obviously, you have to have a game plan in order to create something like that. But the reality is there's not a lot for sale right now. And a lot of buyers are just kind of patiently watching and waiting the market. And then when they see something they really like, they're jumping all over it. So your competitive advantage is going to be what we refer to in our business as speed to lead. You know, when somebody inquires about one of our properties, we want to have an intelligent conversation with them and answer their questions and provide value as quickly as possible, because the more time that lapses, the less chance we have of converting that lead into an actual client. It's the same in any business. You know, the industry standard in real estate there are 2 main statistics that I like to tell my agents and, of course, tell other people when they're interviewing agents. And number one is that over 50% of all online inquiries related to real estate go unanswered. I think the statistic is 53%. It's 51 or 53%. But over half of all online inquiries just never get a response in the first place. There's no secret. If you've listened to this program, you know that communication in our industry is a big problem. And it's commonplace. It's a consistent challenge. It's consistently the number one piece of negative feedback I get when I interview with a seller that's previously been on the market with, another real estate agent. And by the way, over 60% of the listings that my team sells were previously listed by another real estate agent. So we're used to those conversations. We're used to going into an environment where the seller's just overall not very happy with the process and overall not very happy with the industry. So we have to prove to them that, hey, there are people out there that know what they're doing, that are good at their job, that will do what they say they're going to do, that will communicate with you, and that will produce results. I mean, our homes are selling in 18 days on average and for 98.5% of asking price. So going back to this challenge of finding properties that are a great fit for you, the first step really is just aligning yourself with a real estate agent that is going to be as invested in the search as you are, and not have this kind of set it and forget it approach to finding properties for you. I mean, one of the things that we do is, of course, when we construct that search, those properties that are hitting the market on a daily basis or that are reducing their price to now become more attractive, those emails get sent to you, but they also get sent to us. We want to be able to pick up the phone at 9 o'clock in the morning and say, hey, did you see 123 Main Street that hit the market this morning? What does your morning look like? Can we go out and take a look at it? And we're not doing that to be pushy. We're doing that because we understand how time sensitive some of these properties are. So sometimes you can, quote unquote, win by just being the early bird to the worm. But the question then becomes, well, how do we find the properties that are not publicly available, that are not being publicly marketed, that would sell if a ready, willing, and able buyer made them a fair offer? And I'm going to talk about that when we come back. What are some of the things that we're doing right now to find this inventory that obviously has a motivated seller attached to it, but is not on the market and you can't find it? So stick around. This is the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA and WTMA.com. And remember, if you want to reach out to me to learn more about how we're winning in this market right now, in a market of low inventory, both for sellers and buyers, feel free to give me a call. My number is 843-400-8009. That's 400-8009. Or visit us online at listingsincharleston.com. That's listingsincharleston.com. Stick around. We'll be right back.
It's the Brian Beatty Real Estate Show. Broadcast Saturday mornings at 9 and Sunday mornings at 10 on the Big Talker 1250 WTMA.